Yeah.
Post. Post. Okay. I tagged you in there.
You need a stand? Or can we prop it up? James,
Jimbo Jones.
can you guys see it on there? Yeah. Okay. Can you see it on there? Okay.
I never had nachos as good as I got from one of this ever again in my life. It hurts me.
Can somebody tell me? Huh? Can somebody tell me if this is good? On the I don't have the app installed.
Where do you go for breakfast to go?
Or you can.
Alright. Can we go to your house for breakfast too? Here's
Are we up and running?
I think so.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey Eric, how do you like your new home? Yeah, I think my mom's gonna.
I love it. It's nice and cozy, and it's way more than I need. But my poor cats are really digging it.
My friend, they sold their house and they went into a trailer like
Yeah,
that.
actually, I'm gonna need this to play a song. I forgot.
She has something wrong
But
with
after, but maybe someone could just hold it for a minute while I take it to play the song.
She's not on that damn ground.
I mean, it's gonna be after Eric
Oh,
talks.
okay.
So leave it there,
I'm just.
and then after Eric,
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna play this other song, and then we'll put it back. Is it going? Is anyone watching?
Yeah.
It's got like about a 30-second delay.
Oh, nice. Is there only one person watching? Still this?
7 people. Who's on there?
That would have
Are we
been
gonna be able to save the comments that they made?
I think so. I think after you do a live, it saves.
You know,
Nice. That would be great.
I don't have
Please share to me.
I think I tagged enough people on and tagged you.
I can barely get this.
Nice. I love Uncle Sean and Aunt Judy. They're so cool. Have you ever gone to meet
It's
them?
grounded.
We haven't went there.
We're in for
Oh, that's nice.
It's great.
Should I holler to the people that we're getting about ready?
Yeah.
I can just hop on the mic.
You can
and
also
pick it
Yeah,
up.
get on the mic and tell me. Make sure.
Yeah.
So does everyone
Well, I'm working on this.
be on the live stream? No, like Scotty.
I posted in the discussion of the event, go to Allison's page, and it's public, right? So they don't have to be friends with her.
Should we like text him or something?
Yeah, sure, text them.
Oh, so now there's no way.
What do you mean? It's all good.
No, is she doing that on her phone? Yeah.
Scotty's in there? Scotty's there.
Oh, good. Okay. Where?
Hey, why don't you do...
Jeannie and Scotty.
Can they hear us right now?
And we're recording it too.
What?
You can like kind of hear it.
We'll do like a panorama.
Panorama.
Do a panorama.
Everybody waving.
Look at all the others too.
Oh.
The others?
I like to call them both.
You gotta let the real person
I know.
is the best.
Hey, so how are you going to play this? On your phone?
No, it's on my computer, which they're currently using as a stand.
Okay.
So once you say it's time to play, I'm gonna go. It's it's like a headphone jack, right? I'm just gonna plug it in and play it.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
All right. So we'll be doing that very soon.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, you got this.
No,
I hope
Jack
so.
is fine.
It's okay to cry.
I woke up this morning hating everything I wrote.
I'm sorry I didn't message you this morning. I should have. I was just so overwhelmed.
Yeah, we had a lot to do. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Hello. Hello. Hi, folks. Thank you all for coming. It's very nice to see all of you. My name is Eric. I've been a good friend of John's for about 32 years. I never hosted one of these things myself, and I have very little experience even going to them. So I think that's okay. We'll just kind of let this thing happen as it happens. And you know, there's no wrong or right way to do one of these things anyway. And to be perfectly honest, I think if John knew we were doing this, he'd probably be pretty mad at us about it. This really wasn't his thing at all.
Too bad, John.
Too bad, Tony.
He's not here to decide.
We're so sorry that people wanted a place to remember you. So anyway, I think what we'll do is, I know Sophie's going to play you another song, just a little bit of music, and then she may or may not have a little piece to say. And then we're just going to open it up to all of you. If anyone wants to come up here and say something about John, or tell a funny story, or say a prayer, or air your grievances, there's no need to hold that down.
That's right.
So, Sophie wanted to play you this song called Good Day, which was recorded a long time ago during an interview on our local station. And so you're going to hear John's voice, and you're going to hear him crack some jokes, and it's a really good time. And then we'll get rolling with this thing. Thank you all again for coming.
Yeah, thank you. No, I'm not going to do that. No. No.
I will remain standing here awkwardly while she does it.
It's not happening.
Appreciate you guys coming down, playing a couple songs for us. We're getting ready for the show Saturday night. Now, this is a live recording, is that right?
This is a live recording.
All right.
So if anyone wants to go, call us. The lines are all busy right now. Caller number 1, go.
Well, we can wait for a while for caller number 1. But, you know, since we mentioned the live show, I want to real quickly thank Jay Wooten at the Speaker Connection for helping me out with these microphones and stands.
The Woot!
And,
The Woot!
I understand those will be those same microphones and stands you'll be using Saturday night.
He's very wise. We're giving him away.
It's a small town that way, folks.
You can win these mics, and we thank Woot for donating them.
All right. So, tell us a little bit more about you know, your, I don't know, your musical background. How did you guys, what was your very favorite first musical impression that made you think, I want to play the guitar?
Well, I saw the Cars.
The Cars.
In concert.
Okay, sick.
And that's when I wanted to start playing guitar.
Oh yeah.
I was in the 6th grade.
What about you, Joe?
was the Ramones.
No way.
Ramones and TSY.
You're lying. You're lying.
At the Warner's Theater in Fresno, California.
You're not lying.
No.
The Ramones, the Cars. My first show was Cheap Trick.
That's a good one.
That's not a bad one
very
either.
good one.
Yeah.
Want you to want me. That's a very. I wish Cheap Trick was my first show.
All right. Well, no, I wish the Ramones were my first show. But we're thinking about a show Saturday night at Duffy's. You guys nervous? I mean, it's gonna be packed. There'll be a lot of people.
Well,
Really hot and sweaty.
I will throw up 10 minutes before we play, and afterwards I'll be fine.
It'll be a guaranteed good show.
It'll be fun. I hope so.
Just wipe the puke off your chin. So. All right.
They have mirrors in the Duffy's bathroom, so I can check my demeanor.
Let's hear some more music, guys. What do you think?
One more. Okay.
One more? All right.
You want to try Good Day?
Yes.
The song's called Good Day. It's about being happy.
That's happy.
nothing matters. I've been waiting for this day so long. I've been waiting for this day so long. I've been waiting for this day so long. I've been waiting for this day so long.
Once again, the music with Eric Morton and John McCall.
There's a really funny part right after the end of that where we both confessed that neither of those were our actual first show, but our first show was a free show at the Fresno Fair, Quarter Flash. But who wants to admit that?
Oh, I would.
So thanks for indulging us with that. So with that, I'm going to just kind of walk away from this and turn it over to y'all. Sophie, did you want to come up first? Do you want to wait?
Yeah, I'll come up for a minute.
All right, so we're gonna give it to Sophie, and then you can all just kind of do your thing. And we'll, like I said, this will be a nice little organic thing. We'll let it happen.
Oh, so tall. Is this the right distance? Thank you, everyone, so much for being here. I know a lot of you, but those of you who don't know me, I'm Sophie, and I'm here because John McCall was my first boyfriend from when I was 19 to 27, and my only child, he's the father of, that's Jocelyn, who's here. And I wanted to say thanks to Mary for being here, because if it weren't for her, none of us would be here. And I want to say thanks also to Eric for being there for me and Joss and John when we really needed you. Really appreciate it. I want to tell some kind of fun stories. For instance, the first time that I met John was, can I move this over a little? I feel like I can't see a lot of people. Is this okay?
Yeah.
Thanks, Kyle. The first time I met John, the Imps were playing at the Blue Room, and my friend and I worked at Percano across the street, and we went to Pizza Face to get a slice of pizza in between bands, and my friend and I were in line, and there was this guy standing behind us, and I can't even do it, but you know, he's like standing with his legs a little apart, and he has these broad shoulders, and he's like sticking his hands in his pocket like this. And I said, "Why are you standing like that?" And I don't remember what he said, but it was probably something like, "Because I'm John McCall." And I was like, I can see that, you are. And by the end of the night, I was carrying guitars down to Scotty's truck after the concert. And then I think I invited John and some people back to my house for an after party, and he got there first. And when I rode up on my bike, he was sitting on the stoop of my house, and he had a 6-pack of buds, and he was already drinking one. And I was like, wow, what a cool guy. He doesn't even wait to get in the house. He's just having a beer right now. And, yeah, he was, the main thing I have to say about John McCall is that he was a fucking stand-up guy. And I was always proud to be his girlfriend, and I'm so proud that he's the father of my daughter, and I'm so honored that I can be here today and help bring you all together to celebrate him. And I think it's total bullshit that he died so young. I didn't think his story was over yet. It doesn't make any sense to me. All he wanted was to play music and entertain his friends and barbecue them some good food and just to have this, group of people that he loved. And I'm so happy to see how he touched so many people. And thank you for being here, and I would love to hear some more stories. I might have some more to share later too, but I'd like to hear from some other people now. But thank you so much.
Thank you, Sophie.
Who's brave? Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I'm Joe. I'm John's younger brother. And there was a picture. Well, there was a picture up here. Hang on a second. We'll find it. It's one of the ones down here. It's like a little Polaroid picture. And that was the talent show. I think it was John's 4th grade talent show. And here's a joke from John. He was a comedian, so 4th grade talent show, and says, the cafeteria food here is so bad, even the cockroaches complain. I think my dad wrote that one for him. But I also came up here because I was asked to read something from Gene Costello, who just been in and out of our lives for a long time, and just a great person. So this is filled with a lot of inside jokes, so if I don't explain it to you, find me afterwards. It says, Dear Eddie, the first one. Our story started in Santa Ana and traveled to Fresno Land, where you and your brother Joe enjoyed Tippy, the goat, swimming, fishing, and movies on the Betamax. Betamax was before VHS. VHS, DVDs, and then VHS, and then Blu-ray. We got older. You went with the band. I joined the military, kind of, because she married a military guy. We met up again in the Pacific Northwest, where food, fun, and Great Wolf's Lodge were, and more. Sean liked A Face in the Crowd. If you've never seen a movie called Face in the Crowd, John loved to show it to you. And it was, I think it was shot in the 50s with Andy Griffith. But it was actually a really good movie, so if you haven't seen it, look for it. You sure could pick some twisted entertainment. I'm off to eat my favorite dessert, watermelon and jalapenos.
Yeah.
Thanks for the tip. Rest easy, dear one. And I gotta say this because it's written. Who's the best aunt in the world?
Aunt Jeannie!
That's right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Nobody else?
No, there's more. Call him out by name, Eric. Call him by name.
I don't want to
Yeah,
put anybody on the spot like that.
Represent
I was just taking it to
your-
mean it was mostly airing of grievances, so.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jen. Hey, no problem.
Hey, my name's Jim Hollinger. God, I think I met John probably about 30 years ago when he moved to town. I was in a band back then, and they had just moved to town, and you guys would ask us, John and Eric would ask us if they could play with us, and we're like, fuck, you guys are way better than we are. So yeah. So that kind of started off a relationship where we play shows together. I would have parties and have the imps play at my house. was super fun because the imps actually brought people to my house. So, but we would play. And then, a number of years later, a friendship developed. I was in a band with Gary and Tom Little. And Tom was like, we got to get a guy who can write songs, because I'm sick of writing them all. So he brought in John to play with us. And that band was called The Solos. So I'm kind of like, I consider myself like a half imp. I'm like his backup imp when, Eric and Scotty aren't there. But played with him for off and on since about 2002. Had some super, super great times. Mostly the practices were just fun and, great time. John would always bring like some weird beer, like some carrot beer or something. And he would always feed us. He had his restaurant. I don't know if you guys ever went to McCall's. That was right around the corner from my work when it was around. And I would always have to make sure to go there after 2 o'clock in the afternoon because I knew I was never going to go back to work. Because he would just keep bringing beers and food, and he's like, oh, try this, try that. And before I knew it, it's 5:30, and we're just sitting there hanging out, having a good time, eating food. I think the best thing that describes John to me is I was looking through my texts, and the last text conversation that I had, we hadn't talked for a week or two. He's like, he needed some work done on his truck. And so he said, hey, Jim, will you be my truck bitch? And I said, I'm not going to work on your truck, but I'll be your bitch anytime. Anyway, I'm going to miss him. Thank you.
I don't normally do these things, and it's not supposed to be like this, but I am Sid from Juanita's, and many, many people came to me through music and love and good food, and I'm so lucky to have had the bar between me and the people, but like I say, it's not supposed to be like this. Thank you. Glad to know you. Sorry, Mom.
Hey, my name's AJ. I'm a friend of John and the Imps. These guys weren't my first surrogate Chico family, but they were definitely the coolest. We shared a love of music, The Simpsons, and marijuana, which was fun for the time. But what always amazed me was the sense of family between the three guys, and I later saw that extend to how their real family worked and people like Bob and stuff like that. And I was always very impressed and envious of John's ability to bring people together, whether music, food, or just like we would spend every Sunday night watching Simpsons and eating food and smoking marijuana. That's you know. But we do sort of, I know it's a cliche, but we don't necessarily understand that the salad days are happening, when they are. It's only with, it's only looking back on that stuff. And I was lucky enough to spend a lot of time with these guys and this family, and I feel really lucky to have done so. So rest in peace to John, and nice to see all of you. Love you.
I'm going up. You are? I am. I have something to say. Would you take this? Yeah. That's okay. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. My name's Jeremy. I think I was introduced to John in 1998 by my good friend Mark Muter, who was the technical director at the Blue Room before I was, and I just remember we went over there with a couple of coolers. John would always give us free ice for our events, and Mark left a year or so later after I met John, and John was just always great. I became basically the new Mark Muter, and anytime I needed anything, whether it was ice or free pizzas for a load-in or a set build, he was always willing to contribute to the cause. And thinking back, I know it's a little cliche, but we'll always have the music. And every time I listen to any of Imp's songs, it's just so nostalgic. It takes me right back to a certain time period. And I can almost smell the beer and sweat from the Woodroom shows, and the Duffy shows were awesome. And one funny, well, I think it's funny, hopefully you will too. A few years back, I'm a DJ on Z-Rock, and I think I was making fun of Glenn Danzig, because who doesn't make fun of Glenn Danzig? And randomly, like later that afternoon, John stopped by the radio station and brought me a book. And it was just such a random surprise gift. Like, I don't think I ever got John a gift for anything, but he heard me and he brought me this comic book called Henry and Glenn Forever. Has anyone ever heard of that? Well, I'm just going to read the synopsis, because it's such a random thing. It says, starring notorious muscle-bound punk metal dudes Glenn Danzig and Henry Rollins, with a little help from soft rockers Hall & Oates, Henry and Glenn Forever is a love story to end all love stories. Henry and Glenn are very good friends. They're also roommates. Daryl and John live next door, and they are Satanists. What follows is ultra-metal violence and cry-fest diary entries, cringing self-doubt, and mega-hilarious emo meltdowns. Who knew Danzig was such a vulnerable, self-conscious sweetie pie? Who knew Rollins was such a caring spouse? Who knew Hall & Oates were so infernally evil, yet so considerate? As the real-life Henry Rollins says of the work, has Glenn seen this? Trust me, he would not be impressed. I think Glenn's only impressed by cats, actually. But, I still see that, I just moved recently, so I came across the book again a few months back, and it's just such a interesting gift, and I don't know, just always remember that, and I always remember how courteous and gracious he was and giving, and, God bless the Imps. Thank you.
I just want to thank everybody here for coming to my son's funeral. Thank you very much. And I want to tell everybody what a privilege it has been to be his mom for 49 years. That I really believe that God truly blessed me being his mom. He's so sweet and giving. And I'm just going to miss him every day. And God bless him. I miss you already, son. I couldn't do it. I thought I couldn't do it.
I have more to say before you close it up.
Fantastic.
Okay. I also wanted to say, since Mary just spoke, how much I loved John's whole family and how family was so important to him. And even after, years after we had broken up, I spent Thanksgiving in Washington with Pat, his dad, and Allison, and my daughter, and I spent Christmas sometimes with Mary in Fresno. And John took us to see John Mulaney in San Francisco. He's still, and I want to point out that some of John's oldest friends are here. His first girlfriend, Jackie, is here, and I'm his second. Jen, the mother of John and Jane, couldn't be here for COVID reasons, but I do want to acknowledge her and his other two children, John and Jane, because he loved his kids so much.
Oh, they were everything.
Yeah. So, I think it says a lot how he's kept his friends from the beginning to the end, and that so many people are coming out to support his journey to heaven. Thank you.
Hi everyone. I wasn't planning on saying anything because I might start crying, so apologies if I do. I'm going to keep the face mask on in case it's ugly crying. If anyone doesn't know me, I'm Jocelyn, John's oldest daughter. If you don't recognize me, I was probably a baby the last time you saw me. But I wanted to tell one of my favorite stories about my dad. I think a lot of you probably already know it because I think it was one of his favorites too, and I talk about it all the time. But when I was a kid, I got really sick for a while. I was in the hospital for a little bit, and my dad was, miserable about it. I didn't know because, I was a kid. He didn't show me that, but I learned later, he was out in the hallway crying and praying, because of how much he loves his kids. It was really hard for him. But for me, he was just strong. And one night I was sitting in my hospital bed feeling awful, feeling sick, and they had a big clunky TV in the room. And a commercial came on for a toy called a Wove Love, which was this weird little Furby looking thing that would give birth to an egg. It was super weird. But I saw it and I was like, oh my, I want that. Like, it was the first thing that made me feel excited after feeling so sick. And my dad just goes, I gotta go take care of something, I'll be back. And he went straight to Toys R Us, went and bought it, and came back and brought it to me. And I still have it to this day. My mom just gave it to me from her house, and I just think that's the kind of guy my dad was. If you said you wanted something and he loved you, he would do anything to get it. Yes. He was, that's who he was. So to reiterate what everyone has said, thank you for being here. I didn't expect to see a lot of people because of COVID, and it means the world to see everyone, no matter how big a part of your life he was. It's just amazing to see all these people. So thank you.
Get prepared.
Hey, Eric, we're going to do one more song at the end, too.
Okay. I haven't thought about the Wove Love in a long time. John's hospitality was legendary. I made notes, so kind of keep me on track here, so I wouldn't just ramble like a madman like I'm known to do. And it's going to sound like that anyway, so good thing, huh? In about the last 5 years or so, I've probably never had a phone call with John that was less than 2 hours, minimum. That will make you very particular about when you're going to pick up that call or when you're going to call back, because you're invested if you answer that. I would always make myself available if I knew he needed me. When his father died, for instance, Mary, if I'm going to get through this.
You can do it.
Yeah. My own father had passed about 10 years prior. And at the same time, John's father, Pat, his health turned for the worse. My wife's father had been informed that he also was not long for the world. And so I did a lot of unqualified armchair counseling
and answered many questions about my own experience with that. If you're lucky, you can have a few people in your life that are going to come to you in a moment of need like that. I feel it's an obligation of love to be there in as meaningful a way as you can. The fulfillment of this obligation strengthens bonds, it strengthens love, and you move forward with a new understanding of the love for your friends and an understanding of yourself. So on a day like today, I'm thinking it's a 3.5 hour phone call at least. And what will we talk about? Well, a good solid hour of any conversation with John from the get-go is just trying to make each other laugh hysterically. We shared humor as a defense against a world that is sometimes psychotic and horrible. And dude was funny, man. I mean, most of you know, dude was funny. And I'm funny too sometimes. And much in the way that we played instruments together, and he would give me music and I would play off that music and he would play off that music. We did the same with our words on the phone, and we would play with each other's words and we would just laugh until we were exhausted. But on a day like today, he would want to talk about the existential, which we did often. We would talk about the big what after. And although I am certain he thought more deeply about it, the only answer I could ever get out of him was, I don't know what I believe, but I believe in something.
This was his.
Yeah?
Yes, he kept it hanging in his house.
Oh. See, he was a believer.
Yes, he was.
Then, inevitably, he would just turn to me and say, "What do you think, man?" And I think he enjoyed this because, it's what I think has evolved over time, and I think he enjoyed me watching me struggle to explain it. And I would try to tell him, and I'm going to try to explain it to you all. I'll make you two promises. One, it gets pretty wild, man. And two, it'll take a lot less than 3 hours. Although to some of you it may seem like a lot longer than 3 hours, and if that's the case, I apologize. So I'd say, well, John, you know my mom, was a devout evangelical Christian, and she made me go to church for the first 12, 13 years of my life. And I mean, not just Sunday school, I mean summer vacation Bible school, I mean Wednesday night youth group, called the Whirly Birds. We had multicolored beanies with propellers. I mean, seriously. So finally, at about 12, 13 years old, my mom gave me the choice. And she said, you don't have to go anymore if you don't want to go. And I thought, well, that's interesting, because it wasn't too long ago I had asked our youth pastor, anonymously, he did an exercise with the kids in the class where we wrote down any kind of question we had, and we weren't to put our names on it, so no one could know what it was. And what I wrote down to ask was, could a person be a bad person most of their life, and at the very end redeem themselves and kind of slide right in there through the gates, right?
Right in there.
And the youth pastor was thrilled. What a great question, he said. He couldn't wait to put all that divinity school to work. And one of these jello-eyed whirly birds actually asked a real question, and he told us a parable of, I'm really sorry if I butcher this, because I will. It has something to do with Jesus hiring day laborers to work in a field, and in the morning he offered these guys work and said, I'll pay you, let's just call it $40 if you work till sundown. And they said yes. And then they took a lunch later in the day, and another group of guys came over and they said, hey, heard you're hiring, you need some more guys. And Jesus said, yeah, if you work my field till sundown, I'll give you $40. And the guys who had been there all day were like, hey, what gives? And Jesus said, hey, I offered you work for this reward. You said yes. And I offered them work for the same reward. And they said yes. And you all get the same. You are all entitled to the same. Somehow, this means that, yes, you can be a bad person your whole life and redeem yourself at the end, and you are entitled to that great reward. So with this knowledge in hand and permission from my mom, I said, awesome, catch you guys on the flippy flop. I got rock and roll stuff to do.
I like it.
Another interest of mine at a young age was space. I just loved space. I read everything about astronauts and stuff, and if I had an academic mind that didn't have the rock and roll stuff to do, it probably would have been a serious field of study for me, but I don't math or science very well. But as I grew older and delivered pizza for several years in a car with no radio, where the mind can wander. And I just love to kind of ponder the universe and our place in it, on the planet that goes around a star, and there's other planets that make up our solar system, and that's in a galaxy which has a billion other stars and galaxies, and there's a billion other galaxies just like that, and this spreads across the entire universe into a universe that is expanding and into what, who knows, and all the unanswerable questions is just fascinating to me. And when I heard that the iron in our blood and your blood comes from the heart of a long ago exploded star, that's heavy, man. What that meant to me was that we are connected to each other, in the universe, in a real and profound way. And so these things kind of, well, they just come together perfectly for me. So from there, it's pretty easy for me to make the leap. So what I believe is that the cosmos is a living thing. That it is life itself. That life is put inside of us as a blank page at the moment of our creation. it's really difficult when someone's with you for the decades, and then suddenly they're just not. They're gone forever. So what helps me is to kind of imagine each of our lives as a strand that comes down from the cosmos, delivers us into chaos, where we imprint our own unique experiences onto the strand and return back into the cosmos, all the more wiser. And so therefore, I think of the man we know as John as just a small fragment of all that John is. And the same is true for all of us. We all imprint our unique strand and we deliver it back to the cosmos. And I have come to believe that this is the very meaning of life. That the universe creates in order to understand itself. And we create our experience to understand ourselves. And I have come to believe that we are right now all together, unsegmented in the cosmos, just as we are also right here together, but experiencing our lives uniquely and individually. Those not with us now have only returned home. The body may die, but the life within it cannot. I told you it was pretty wild. So, the thing about these religions, that me and John both kind of had exposure to, is that the authority of any one of these will teach from their specific texts. And they experience that in their own unique way. And as you listen, you experience it in your own unique way. And the person next to you experiences it in a way completely different from either of you. And so on, and so on, and so on, until to me, it just becomes obvious. What is this big wood after? It's just anyone's best guess. It's an unanswerable question. And an unanswerable question, then, is just a choice. A choice to believe in something wonderful. So I choose to believe in something wonderful. Because that choice makes the world bearable when it's being horrible. It makes for better adventures, and it makes for kinder people. So this is the part of the phone call where eventually you just got to say, well, John, I think it's time I let you go, buddy. You'd say, yeah, all right. You have a good night, man. I'll talk to you soon. Love you, dude. Love you, too. But this last goodbye has to be a little different. And it's the same goodbye I'll give to you as I send you on your way. It's unavoidable that we get caught up in the day-to-day. There's stuff to do, there's kids to feed, there's rent to pay. But from time to time, remember to choose something wonderful. And sometimes remember that you're slipping across your strand. And these moments, they come and go very fast. So go on your adventures and journey well. Imprint your life onto your strand and tell your tales. But remember to savor some of your feelings. Your joy, your love, your happiness, your heartache, your despair, and your fear. Because all of that, you are obligated to give up to the cosmos when it comes your time to give up the ghost. Sophie, I want to thank you for putting all this together, assembling all of us. I want to thank you all for coming, speaking, and listening, and remembering John. I believe we're just gonna play a little bit of music, and we'll hang out, we'll tell stories, and we'll break off into our smaller groups, and then we'll break off alone, and just remember to choose the wonderful thing. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, play the song. Oh, yeah. That song about his kids.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, before I play the song, it's called Three Apples, right? Yeah. I feel like, forgive me for saying this, Grandma Mary, I feel like John would haunt me if I didn't say something because I'm his daughter's boyfriend. And I didn't know John too well. He would come by the house every now and then, but every time he did, other than Imps, he was a pretty big foodie. If you knew John, he loved food. And he was always talking about the best restaurants to go to. And I can't remember any of them because it was like most of the time, like these last, I feel like 8 months has been like COVID, so I haven't thought about any restaurants to go to. But I remember one time he gave us garlic Tabasco hot sauce. And my family fed me on like mini corn dogs and Hot Pockets. So I'm like the whitest guy alive. I don't have any exposure to spice. So this garlic Tabasco sauce is like the nastiest thing to me. But now I'll kind of cherish it because every time I open the cabinet, it's still there. So maybe when it gets all moldy, we'll have to toss it out. But yeah, I think John was a great guy. I'll go ahead and play Three Apples. Thank you.
With
You saying like thank
yeah,
you. Yeah, that's good.
Or just the scene in general, if you look back on it.